On board a warship that will one day be protected by fleets of drones, the Prime Minister was in Glasgow to announce the future of the armed forces in what he called a blueprint for a battle-ready, armour-clad nation.
We are moving to warfighting readiness as the central purpose of our armed forces. When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready, to deliver peace through strength.
If technology is multiplying military capabilities, the war in Ukraine is demonstrating a real and present threat, which the government says it will meet with a hybrid Royal Navy, mixing ships, submarines and drones, much greater offensive cyber capabilities, and new homeland missile defences. There will also be lots of new kit, 6 new munitions factories in the UK, up to 12 nuclear-powered submarines and 7,000 long-range missiles.
This one in Stevenage producing... The Defence Secretary says Britain must be ready for the prospect of war, and that means more factories like this one in Stevenage producing long-range missiles, both for use in Ukraine and increasingly to replenish the stocks at home. John Healey said a major defence review to be published tomorrow will respond to the Russian threat.
The message to Putin is we take our defence seriously, we're stepping up our deterrence. We should expect to see new factories opening very soon, and we've already got strong munitions factories in every part of England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, and the investment we're making will boost the jobs in those areas as well.
Weapons.
Andrew, the defence review. Andrew, apparently, according to the right-wing papers, the defence strategy is already in disarray. The review is supposed to be announced today, but the Defence Secretary has already backtracked on the pledge to boost spending to 3% of GDP. And this is because previously he'd said he had no doubt that the government would meet the target by 2034. Yesterday he said it was an ambition. So just explain for people the difference between I have no doubt that's what we're going to spend and then we have the ambition to spend that.
Ironclad commitment. He expressed in the Times, I think it was last Thursday, we will spend 3% by 2034, which is how you can pay for these extra submarines that they're talking about and planes that are armed with nuclear missiles. Yesterday, on the Koonsberg show, he rode back. It was an ambition to spend it. And there is a big difference between that and
defence for decades and decades.
Nor do we need to. Look, the difference is, I have an ambition to play football for Sunderland in the Premier League next season. I will not say I have no doubt I will play football for Sunderland.
No, but you didn't once say no doubt.
Nor do we need to. Look, the difference is, I have an ambition to play football for Sunderland in the Premier League next season. I will not say I have no doubt I will play football for Sunderland.
No, but you didn't want.
The Defence Review has just been published and I've been reading through all 140 pages and these are my top takeaways. Russia is the #1 threat to the UK. Well, perhaps not a surprise, but unlike the last government review of defence, which promised a tilt to the Indo-Pacific, this review identifies Russia as an immediate and pressing threat, warning Ukraine has temporarily degraded Moscow's capability, but Russia still poses an enduring threat in key areas like space, cyber, undersea warfare and chemical weapons. The authors also believe the country's war economy is positioned to enable it to rebuild that capability more quickly in the event of a ceasefire in Ukraine. Takeaway number 2, the integrated force. The SDR says the UK must draw a line under the current setup of the armed forces, which still has its roots in the Cold War. Instead, embrace an entirely new structure. The goal is ambitious, to develop the ability to blend crewed platforms with a growing proportion of uncrewed and autonomous collaborative platforms. They want to do this in order to increase lethality, endurance and mass at sea, undersea, on land and in the air. Takeaway number 3, the NATO first approach. The report's authors say we will never in the future expect to fight a major military power alone. Instead, they want the UK's armed forces to prioritise NATO's requirements. Takeaway number 4, recruitment and retention. Armed Forces Minister Luke Pollard says this is the first review since 1989 which doesn't cut numbers in the armed forces. Now they want to speed up the recruitment process. The FPS Forces News understands the wish is to take it down from around 6 months to more like 30 days. And there's also a plan to release military personnel in back office functions to frontline roles by automating HR, finance and other commercial functions over the next 3 years. And there's also scope to embrace the Australian model of gap year commissions. These have been really successful and they would give people interested in joining the opportunity to try before they buy with a much shorter term of service. Finally, the SDR is calling for a whole society response to defence. They don't just want to rely on the people in uniform, they want the whole country to get involved. The government wants to start a national conversation about defence, and there's a plan to collaborate with the Department of Education to engage young people. As part of this, they want to expand the cadet forces by 30% by 2030. The government...
Liu Kang wins.